All right, we're live for another solo edition of the Let's Go podcast. A long night last night, a lot of competitive games, a lot of fire. It's been a busy week. It's been a very busy week. At the softball ended, I thought that I'd be able to get a little bit of a break here, but thank God things are really picking up in South Florida with the softball there. We had games last night. Of course, men's basketball here Sunday and Thursday, and a lot of things brewing, a lot of things coming. So excited to bring that all to you. But right now, we're here for a power ranking podcast for the HSL Men's Basketball League. We got around 2 weeks remaining. Officially, we just finished week 7, but we have the whole week 8 plus half of week 2, which we never finished. So still a solid 2 or so weeks before we hit playoffs. But things really coming into shape here for both tiers, and we'll get into it right now. So let's start in Tier 2. Tier 2, we have Advanced Power Controls coming in at number 5 in the power rankings. They're 1-6. They did have a big win early in the season. I thought Tide's returning, and I think the theme has just been there all season. I think running out of gas. Some of them are older. A lot of games they've came with only 6 guys. I think they had 7 or 8 guys last night, but they keep it close in the first half. Last night, Advanced Power Controls played versus Clutch Auto Trade. I think it was a 3-point game at halftime, and then Clutch Auto Trade just maybe outscored them 25-5, and then the second half it's ridiculous, and it's happened to them a few times this season. Obviously, we appreciate them coming to the league, and I think David's actually gonna. Galib's planning on bringing the team back, maybe revamping a little bit, getting some changes. We'll see what happens, but we appreciate them, and they kept it close. I think maybe they have 6 losses. I think only 2 or 3 of them were by large margins. The other 3 were very, very close. They could have gone either way. They're 1-6. They are eliminated from the playoffs, but we give a thank you, and hopefully they enjoy their last game, just chill and have fun and play some competitive basketball. Coming at number 4, we have Mava Capital. Mava Capital just coming off of a big game against Crown Care, a whooping of Crown Care with Joey Katz from Crown Care in the building. And that's Tier 2 for you this year. Anything could happen. Crown Care won 3 in a row. They're on fire. Mava's lost 3 in a row. They were totally out of it. And they just beat Crown by 15. So another example of anything could happen. Crown Care now 3-4. They are in 4th place, but again, 4th place makes the dance, top 4 seeds. So they're in 4th place currently in Tier 2. Number 3 in the power rankings, and this is a tough one, but I'm going to put Clutch Auto Trade at number 3 in the power rankings. Although they're officially in 2nd place in the division, I'll put them at 3 in the power rankings. Clutch Auto Trade, like I said, just put a nice little whooping on Advanced Power Controls, who are now eliminated. However, with that being said, Clutch Auto Trade did drop a couple of crucial games earlier on in the season, and Crown Care. I've seen them at the best. I've seen Clutch Auto Trade at their best. I think it's a very tight between the 2 teams. I would give Crown Care a little bit of an edge right now. Although, number 2 in the power rankings, Crown Care, like we mentioned before, did just drop a very big game. However, I think Crown Care has, really sharp shooters. I think they hustle. I think they're bigger inside, which is very, very important. I will say Clutch Auto Trade, Jake Lichtman is a stud. Daniel Goldfarb is a stud. Shout out Daniel Goldfarb. Daniel is our newest HSL sponsor, the Cheese Store. Stay tuned for more details. It's amazing. Cheese Store in the 5 towns. We don't have any milk dairy restaurants, really, or milk dairy anything other than Bravo Kosher Pizza in our repertoire. So we're happy to have Daniel on board, and we're super thrilled to make that announcement shortly. But because you're hearing it here first, Daniel also plans on bringing a team to Tier 1 next season with Jake. So we're super pumped to see how that plans out. And then coming in number 1 in the power rankings, we got Barbacoa. Barbacoa has been dominating all season. They're 5-1. They got 2 games remaining. The only game they lost was to Crown Care. So again, Crown Care is a dangerous, dangerous team. But they are 5-1, and they have a couple games left. So we'll see how their season plays out. We are excited, though. We have a battle right now for the 2, 3, and 4 spots aren't solidified. I'm not sure how tiebreakers are working here. It could be they are solidified, but 4-3, 4-3, and 3-4. Very close, bunched up in the middle, and you got the 5-1 on the top and 1-6 on the bottom. So very close and very bunched up. I will say, looking at things quickly, it looks like Crown Care has scored 298 points, but they've only let up 294. And other than Advanced Power Controls, the other teams have scored hundreds of more points than them. Barbacoa played less game and scored 30 more points. Clutch Auto Trade has scored 87 more points. Mava Capital has scored almost 100 more points. So looking at this very quickly, it looks like Crown Care really prides themselves on defense. They've only given up 294 points. When Clutch has given up 75 more, Mava's given up 50 more, and Barbacoa's actually given up 2 less. and play one last game, which is probably why Barbacoa is 5-1 in the first place. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out. Moving on to Tier 1, and here's where things get a little bit tricky. It's very tough for me to give a 10 in the power rankings, and I'll tell you why. I'm not just saying this to pump up the competition. All the teams currently, who are either have 2 wins or 1 win, so many of their losses came in ridiculous fashion. Whether it's Cobra Rental, Michel Chrome Music, all coming in at 1-5, they just played a super tight game, 2 tight games. First against FM Home Loans Ari Hofstetter, which FM Home Loans brought in Jonathan Bayaz, allowed in the rules, and help beat up on Cobra Rental, Michel Chrome Music, need a playoff spot. And then they play a very, very tough game this past week against Silver Key, which we haven't posted the second half highlights yet, but it was super tough. It was a very controversial call at the end of Bjorn Yormark, who would have had the game in the layup with 30 seconds left, and they dropped that one. And I think there was another game or two also, but they're coming in currently at 1-5, but they could easily be 3-3, easily. And I'm not just saying that; it's true. Altbank 1-5 also. Altbank could easily, and I mean easily, be 3-3, 4-2, or 3-3 at the very least. Altbank blew 2 10-plus point leads with 2.5 minutes left. Last night, Altbank was tied with Rides to Fly with 3 minutes to go. Obviously, Yisrael Wasser and the boys will say that they turn it up at the end when they need to. They don't want to waste time and energy early on, which, again, we'll get into them soon. But my point is that these bottom teams, they could easily all have 3-4 wins. It's unfortunate. I guess fortunate for the teams who want beat them, but unfortunate for them that they're sitting really looking on the outside for the playoff spot. So we will put, and it's very hard to put a team at the bottom there. We will put Altbank at 10. Very close 10. There's again 3 or 4 teams that could be in the 10 and be in the 7. Only reason why is because a little more consistent with who shows up, who doesn't show up. Alone's a presence inside, but other than that, they don't have too much of a presence. AB Lowe is an absolute bucket. He's a stud. He's a great shooter. But like I said, they could easily be 3-3. Easily. They've blown 2 crazy games, and it's a shame putting them at 10, but we have to put someone there. Coming in at 9, same theory. Cobra Rental, Michel Chrome Music. Again, shame putting them at 9. They could easily be 3-3 or 4-2. But they do come in at 1-5. They are looking on the outside, on the outskirts, and they have a very good team. I really hope they come back. I really hope everyone comes back, but them especially. They could do legit damage with Zico and Michel Krohn. Great piece, great pickup. Bjorn Yormark is a great center. Skate's a bucket. Kolsky's a bucket. They have a really, really good team. They had guys like Leiter and Zakai, all these Chavetz Chaim boys coming in and playing. We're great players. Zakai's a pest on defense. Hopefully he can play enough to be a regular. Looks like they're not going to make the playoffs this season, but for next season, it's a really awesome, talented team. And we really hope they come back. Coming in at number 8, we have FM Home Loans, Ari Hofstetter, and Hamzy so far, it's matching up and aligning exactly with the standings, but that's, right now. Again, a big loss to Ellie Dax Music, Plumbers Haven. Only had 3 regulars, I think, maybe even 2 regulars. Just a very shaky team. They bring different people every week. Dveer's a bucket. Tabali's a bucket. Great players, know what they're doing. But again, they're close. They were within 3 with a few minutes left, and then Dax Music, Plumbers Haven just pulled away. So they're also currently 2-5, and they're sitting the closest to the final playoff spot. Now, coming in at number 7, here's where things get a little tricky. Coming in at number 7, I'm going to put P4P, and I'll tell you why. P4P played an unbelievably impressive game this past week. They battled down to the wire against Olam Realty. Granted, Olam Realty is missing Big G, their center, and Eli Matatov is limited with his injury. He's a great defender, decent scorer. P4P currently 3-3. As I predicted, they were 3-1. I did predict them to drop their last 4. They dropped 2 in a row. They might get lucky actually on Sunday, as Ellie Dax is missing almost his whole team again. We'll get into that in a second. Sea Winter needs to show up in order to be eligible. So let's see if he pulls that one off somehow. But assuming that Dax's team is not there, it's actually going to really help P4P. But they come in at number 7 due to the fact that they have 2 brothers. Unbelievable players, the Dubin brothers. Fantastic. I really hope they bring a team. I know some moving parts, P4P, and I don't know what's going on, but hopefully they get together and bring a team because they're great players and we'd love to have them in the league. Unbelievable shooters. They scored, I think, the first 37 points last game. Not even from hogging the ball. They all just didn't miss. It was the best the team could have done. However, I haven't seen them beat a good team. They've been competitive, but they haven't beat a good team. The 3 wins came against bottom teams. teams who are missing people, the Deveres of the world and the Moshe Crafts and the bottom teams. So until I see them beat a good team, they'll be stuck at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Boris M. Invent Wealth, and I'll tell you why. Yes, they're all over the place, the roster, but they are getting everyone playoff eligible. They're a dangerous team. They had Orbach as high school or post high school. I'm not sure if he was still in the Yeshiva League, just played in the Yeshiva League. Dominant player. I know everyone says, "Oh, I said whatever." He's really, really, really good. Again, he has to play the remaining 2 to be eligible, but even without him, they have a bunch of really good pieces that just never play at the same time. And Kraft's telling me that these guys are going to show up for the playoffs, and they've all played 3 games. I think part of the reason why Kraft's currently 2-4 is because they all haven't played together. But when they all are together, they're dangerous, they're big, they're strong, and they're fast. They're athletic, they're good shooters, and they're inside strong game, and they're great defensively. That's a recipe for winning. And I think they would give anyone a run for their money, especially if they somehow get Orbach to qualify. They're a very dangerous team who can compete with any team in this league, and I believe it. Coming in at number 5, we got Ellie Dax, Music, Plumber's Haven. I love Ellie. Ellie's awesome. He's great vibes. He tries his best. He does a ton of work for the league. His roster has been dysfunctional the last few weeks, and I think he'd agree. Um, he played 2 games without his team at all. This past week was a little better with Shimmy David showing up, and I think he had 4 regulars total, which is great. This Sunday, I'm missing his team again. Just very, again, there's something, David Gottlieb and I always talk about it. There's something to team chemistry, team camaraderie. And when you go so many weeks without your team showing up, I just think it automatically will have an impact. Oh, yes, 200's a stud, and if he ends up playing this Sunday and qualifies for the playoffs, they could beat anybody as well. But I just don't see the camaraderie. I don't see the energy, really. They did win. Props to them. They beat FM Home Loans, our Hofstetter, which is a huge win. It puts them at 4-2 and really sets them up to get a top 4 seed, which is important. Play the 5 seed then. So very, very big win for them, but I would still leave them at number 5 in the power rankings. Coming in number 4 in the power rankings, we got Olam Realty. Now, Olam Realty, I think, was 4 last time I did a couple weeks ago. Olam is like the LA Dodgers, exactly like the LA Dodgers of this year. They're limping, they're hurting, they're playing, they're not playing, they're losing games against teams they shouldn't lose to. But the bottom line is they're 3-3. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't think there's a mathematical way they don't make the playoffs. I think with 3 wins, I think you at this point clinch. They're going to make the playoffs. Olam Realty, they're going to have the regulars back for the playoffs. Big G has been resting his finger. He's played enough games to be eligible. They had that really tough win against P4P. They're a bend don't break team. I'm not sure who they're playing this week, but they got 2 games left, and Olam in the dance is a dangerous, dangerous animal. Now, do I think Olam's dangerous last year? No. I think teams match up a lot better with them this year than last year. I think Rides to Fly got another big. Fly Vipers are huge inside. Silver Key's very strong inside. And I think that's where it all starts with Olam, their inside presence, to be able to give a lot the space up top and to drive and to shoot. And I do think they lost. I don't think they lost this. They definitely lost a step because of injuries. I think they'll be dangerous in the playoffs. I think their full team, they're dangerous. They're a championship contender, but I don't think they're as dangerous as they've been in the past. Coming in at number 3, we got Silver Key Realty. Now it's very tight up top. Silver Key Realty, unbelievable team, 5-2. What an addition to the league. Great guys, intense on the court, and I love it. But amazing, awesome, genuine, nice guys off the court. Really nice people, very interested in the growth of the league, especially Jeffrey, and we really appreciate everything he does for us and everything he does to help out the league. Unbelievable, unbelievable team. They got unbelievable shooting, unbelievable defense. They play inside so well. Joe's a stud. Jason's a stud. I could go through all, and they got the Jewish dream on them. That team, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the chemistry they have, the camaraderie, the defense, the hustle, the passion. They bring it all. Similar to Mava Capital in Tier 2 with the fans. So we really, really love it, and we appreciate it. And they're 5-2, and they're pretty much locked in. To the 3 seed. They could fall to the 4 if they drop their next game and Dax Music wins the next 2, but I don't see that happening. So they come in at number 3. Yeah, they had a really, really strong win. Like we said, over Corporate Rentals is a tough game. Corporate Rental, Metalcore Music, they're a tough team. They play teams a lot harder than teams think. They beat Olam Realty, and Silver Key, fended them off, and they'll come in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, and this is a lot tougher than you may think, and that I may think. Last night, the Fly Vipers took a really tough loss to Boris M. Invent Wealth. Now, granted, the Fly Vipers are missing Moshe Khalili, and much more importantly, missing their whole inside game, and that's That is the Fly Viper game, right? No Aaron and Jack Ross. They play big. They start inside. They play tremendous defense, um, and it's very, very crucial for them that they have the that they have their big presence inside. And Jack and Noah didn't show up, and it hurt them. Kraft, like I said earlier, came with Orbach, who plays great inside. They have a couple of really good bigs inside. They really dominated the inside. Uriel alone played well, but he could not hold down the fort on his own. If you look at the points allowed, and this is just an example of what I'm saying, for the teams that played 7 games, the Bly and Silver Key basically get the same amount of points, 424 and 426. And then FM Home Loans are giving up 437. And even the teams that have played only 6 games, 386, 358. Yeah, it looks like they've actually more than I thought. They've given up a decent amount of points. Another, so maybe I was wrong on that end. They do, I guess, look a lot better defensively than I guess the standing show right now. The shows they probably give up probably middle of the pack in terms of how many points they give up per game. But I will say another thing. Sheriff showed up last night, looked out of it. I don't know if he was sick. I don't know if he wasn't down. Definitely didn't play any defense. He only put up a few shots. Usually he's a lot more aggressive with the ball. It could be that was Orbach who was taking him for most of the game. I don't know. I have no clue. But the Fly Vipers are a very, very dangerous team. And I will be putting them at number 2 in the power rankings. Now here's why. If you ask me, this might be a controversial take, the Fly has their full roster versus Rides to Fly in the championship. I think Fly wins. However, there's a lot more to a roster than just players. There's camaraderie. There's being in the game emotionally. There's how to, who plays, who doesn't. I know there's a lot going on right now with the Fly Vipers. They have a large roster. I don't know what Shrift's deal is. If he's going to show up for the playoffs, I assume he will. That's probably why he came to qualify tonight. Khalili comes and he doesn't come, and then he comes. And again, this is not at all a talent thing. I think talent-wise, Fly with their full team will beat Rides to Fly. I just need to know that. Rides to Fly, come playoff time, they're locked in, especially after last year's debacle against Fly Vipers where they showed up tipsy, which was ridiculous. They're going to come locked in. They're out for revenge after losing the quarterfinals, I think, last year. And again, I know that if you ask a Jack Ross or a Noah Aaron or Dylan Kaufman, they would say, Wasser, Rides to Fly, having their second big man, I keep forgetting his name, isn't going to make a difference. I think it does. The guy's a rebounding stud. He's all over the place. He's averaging like 12, 13 rebounds a game. On top of all swings, 15, 16 rebounds a game. I think it makes a huge difference, especially matching up against a team like Fly and against a team like Silver Key. And, that Wasser pacey punch up top is just unbelievable together with all swing. And the bottom line is we're sitting here in week 7. Rides to Fly is taking a lot of hate about they're no longer the team to beat. They're sitting in first place, sitting comfy, sitting nice, sitting happy. 6-1. The Wasser Glaze is back, I guess. And they're sitting in full control of their own destiny. They got to win, and they get the 1 seed. They will play the winner of the 6-7 game. They deserve it. They pulled through. They beat teams they had to beat. They did what they had to do, and they're sitting in right where they say they belong. So let's see how things play out. Again, Fly is so dangerous. They're so good with their whole team. I think they could win it all easily. Silver Key's dangerous. Dax, if their team shows up, they're dangerous. Olm Realty, of course. P4P, another team that they have such good scoring. They're in the game. And like I said, the Boris haven't been well. They're another team that they get the guys eligible. They're great. They're really, really good. FM Home Loans, obviously, our Hofstetter, they need to, they got to figure out a way to squeeze in and see what they could do. And then you have Cobra, Nickel Crone, and Allbank, all with FM Home Loans, Hofstetter looking in the outside. But no one eliminated yet. And that's all you can ask for, I think, officially. No one officially eliminated yet. So it's been an awesome, fun ride so far. Appreciate all of you. Stay tuned for highlights coming out shortly. We're going to finish up the Cobra Rental Metalcore Music versus Silver Key highlights and then get into the Thursday night highlights as well. And I'll leave you off with one message. HSL, we're here to put a great product on the floor, on the court. If you think otherwise, you shouldn't be in the HSL. And that's bottom line. I'm sorry to be harsh. You shouldn't be here. We know that people aren't happy with refs. I don't think people will ever be happy with refs. We know that the gold standard for refs are refs that ref in other leagues for some reason. We know that getting refs that have been reffing for years maybe is not good enough because, they're this or they're that or they're this. We know that, people aren't happy. Just know this is something that we're aware of and that we're working on. We're not idiots. And if this is something that you just can't handle, and that you don't want to be a part of, or that you don't feel like it's beneficial for you, then as much as I am an amazing salesperson, I'm great at marketing, I'm great at hyping up the league like no one else does. I don't think it's even close. It's comparable. I'm great at making it as enjoyable for the players, bringing in the hype, bringing in the pump, bringing in the incentive. If this is an issue that you think you just cannot handle until we figure out working it out, then maybe it's not the league for you. And I hate saying that because for the winter, it looks like we're going to have 18 teams. It's unbelievable. Tier 1 is growing. We have 2 new Tier 1 teams. We have 1, maybe 2 new Tier 2 teams. And we're pumped and we're excited and we want to make it fun. And we have a big championship game on January 4th. But the bottom line is, if it's too much for you, I don't want you coming upset. I don't want you coming aggravated. I don't want you coming, oh, here I go, we're going to have to play NHL basketball. We don't need that energy. We need the positive energy. We need the hype energy. And I need the energy that guys trust in me, that I'm working on it. People think you flip a switch. Just get rid of that. Get new. Like, I wish you could do that. There's a lot of moving pieces here. We got to figure things out. We're working on it, and that's final. And I understand players get frustrated. And I understand also, by the way, and just speak very honestly, you never have it where the commissioner's at every single game anywhere. Why am I there? Because I care about the league. Why am I there doing videos and highlights all the time? Because do I know that I'm making myself more susceptible to people coming at me with comments about refs and about how the air conditioning is too low or the floor is a little bit not perfect, which we think I got a lot better on? Yes, I do. But I don't care because I care about the league and I'm there for the league and there for the players. If I didn't care, I wouldn't show up. I think I missed 3 nights of basketball HSL since we started last fall, and probably over 50 nights that we've had. I'm out every single night from 7 at night till 11:30 at night, twice a week. And then when softball comes around, I'm out 5 nights a week. Not because I don't love my wife or my family, but because I care deeply about this league and about growing it. And if you think that I don't care and that it's not fun for you, then maybe you just don't belong. And that's how I'm going to finish this podcast. Again, to reiterate, the goal is to grow the league and to blow it up and to make it amazing. And that's the goal. And we've been doing it. We're happy. Things have been going great. And we appreciate every single one of you for joining. Sincerely, we do. And to all the guys out there who have been supportive of us, thank you even more. You know who you are. To the guys out there who have been critical, but in a menschlich way, we love you as well. HSL, every podcast of it, and I do, we ask players for their open, honest feedback. We're always looking for it. For those of you who are just upset and frustrated and just don't have a way to let it out or feel like it's too much, then maybe it's not that. Maybe we're not here. Maybe we're not a good fit. Hopefully there aren't too many of you or any of you at all. Anyways, thanks guys. It's been fun. I hope that wasn't too harsh. I just had to let it out, and hopefully I did it in a mental way. So thanks for listening. Got that off my chest. Very into transparency here, and I'm happy I did this. So, we're looking forward to the final week. Still a lot of moving pieces. Vlad just lost. Maybe Rights to Fly will lose their next game. You never know. So Vlad has a chance to win. Silver Key has a chance to win. Tier 2 also. It's crazy how bunched up we are up top. I think anyone could beat each other. Unfortunately, Advanced Power Controls have been eliminated, but Barbacoa, Clutch, Crown, Nava, all really good contenders, and the energy in Tier 2 is phenomenal. And we're looking at 6 teams, hopefully, for the winter of next year. So we're excited about that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All the best. Have a great Shabbos, or have a great Saturday night if this is going to be released Saturday night. And thanks for listening. Thanks a lot, guys.